This is a typical Jaguar wheel, chromed wheel, steel wheel. This one has actually been painted with chrome paint. Been done quite nicely. But the trouble with any of the chrome wheels is that they should have a black insert. As you can see here, these are painted in the factory. And each one really should be the same. And they've got a sort of a feather edge to them, like a powdered edge, rather than a sharp edge. When people are trying to repaint these, what they typically do is to put masking tape around it or try and paint it freehand. And of course masking tape gives you a very sharp edge, whereas freehand gives you a very wobbly edge unless you're very, very skilled. And each one ends up looking slightly different and different thickness of paint, and it can be a bit of a mess really, which is a shame if you've got nicely chromed wheels. Also they can get scratched from time to time, and repainting them can become a bit of a problem. I found this so, and I thought, well, there must be a solution to painting them. So what I've done is to make a device which you'll probably find a bit strange. First of all, I recognise that the pattern here needs to be the same. So if I just show you what I've put here when I say that, I made a pattern out of plasticine. And you say, well, that's all very well, it covers it up nicely, but the trouble is the bit you're trying to paint is the bit that's underneath the cover. But by making one of these the same, like this, I was able then to remove it. And what I did was got some papier-mâché. And papier-mâché is very simple to use. It's just basically strips of old torn up newspaper with flour and water, domestic flour and water. And you tear the strips up and pulverise it a little bit until it goes all soggy. And what you can do is then to drape around here and work it until you've got all this covered with the papier-mâché. And you can then lift that out and move on to the next one and do the same thing with that, and you move on to the next one and you do that. Now you're going to say, well, this is all very time consuming. Well, actually it is a little bit time consuming, but so's trying to mask it all up and do it that way. And why I did it that way was that, having then made that shape, this is the papier-mâché that I produced, and as you can see, it just sits over the top very nicely. So there we are with the hole and the hole and the hole and the hole all the way around. And if you now spray that, you'll find that the spray pattern goes down very nicely down here and gives you a nice powdered finish. And you can do all the wheels very quickly one after another, because you can get them all exactly the same, because if you make the hole for where the air insert goes, the air valve, then all you do is lift it off and it goes onto the next wheel. So that's the next wheel I'm going to do. I just plop that on top and spray that one up. That's obviously where I've chipped it away a bit, because I've had this for a while now. So that's what I did. I don't know, it probably took an hour or so. You just have to get the papier-mâché ready in a big bowl. And you do each one first of all with these little inserts, as you see here, and you tuck down the papier-mâché behind it, over the top of it, and then you wiggle this so that it's exactly to shape. The papier-mâché is very soft and pliable, and you can mould it around it quite nicely, and you can check that it looks right when you lift it away. You'll see whether it looks correct or not. And then you can afterwards, when that's hardened off, you can fill in all the centre section. Here you can put more in here to give it a robust colour. I was thinking of maybe making these out of plastic, and I'm still looking at whether it might be possible to do a plastic insert instead of a whole thing, just a series of shapes, like a V shape over here that would just cover that, and you just connect them all up. So you get sort of 10 or 12 of those. Just put them all together. It only has to be sort of a thin plastic cut to shape, but it would have to be a sort of a mouldable shape. So I'm thinking again of using good old 3D printing to mould some shapes together that would all lock together to cover the wheel, and they would be quite hopefully easy to produce and quite quick to produce. But that gives you, I hope you'll agree, a sort of a nice uniform finish to a steel wheel. Try and show you a bit of a close-up here. Difficult, but you can see how it gives you a nice sort of powdered coat edge to it. Sorry, my camera is just an iPad, so it doesn't focus very well, particularly when it's got a reflection coming off the metal. But as I say, you then end up with every single one the same and every single wheel the same, which for all those who are fastidious will find quite pleasing. And of course, if you scratch any of them, you can see I've got a little nick in that one because I've had this wheel a while. Got a little nick on it. All you've got to do is just overlay the old mould. So I just pop that back onto here. I know it's precise because that's where it lines up. And I can then just spray, get the old rattle can, spray it over, and they're all back to being perfect again. Certainly a lot easier, in my view, than masking them all up. Much quicker, actually, in the long run, than masking them all up. Give you a much better finish rather than having a very sharp edge. Makes certain they're all uniform, and I think gives a rather nice end finished result to a solid wheel. Anyway, I thought that was something worth talking about. Thanks very much for watching.